Hi, welcome to the 14-day weather forecast. Finally this autumn I've had to dig out one of my thicker jumpers and I'm expecting it to be very useful during the coming days because there is a distinctly wintry flavour to the weather which is heading in our direction. Strong winds and even snow are likely in parts of the UK. I'll start by taking a look at the view across Europe and the North Atlantic. The sequence here runs from 18 GMT, Tuesday the 23rd. At the outset, it's quiet. High pressure's keeping things dry across most of the UK, but if we look up to the northwest, there's a band of rain, and that will be heading southeastwards through Wednesday, and then colder air follows it down from the north. You can see here 06 GMT on Thursday the 25th. White shading over Scotland there is indicating sleet or snow showers. However, it's as we go through Friday and into the weekend that things become very interesting and potentially quite nasty because another area of low pressure moves down from the northwest and it looks like this one's going to be heading southwards over the North Sea. We've got very, very cold air moving down from the Arctic as that area of low pressure pulls away, but also the isobars there are packed tightly together, which is indicating the probability of very strong winds affecting much of the UK. I'll look at that in a little bit more detail later on. There is a possibility, as I said, of sleet or snow in places. It's going to be a mix of rain, sleet and snow, I would think. Then as we go into the early part of next week, high pressure starts to have more influence again for a time in the south, but we lose the northerly flow, so temperatures will be edging back upwards. This sequence finishes at 21 GMT, Tuesday the 30th, and by then, if we look at up to the northwest, there's another band of rain here. That's set to sweep southeastwards across the UK. Colder air then is likely to follow it once more. All in all, it's a case of rinse and repeat there, really, as we head through the first week. Taking a look at the upper air temperature profile, this is at 12 GMT, Wednesday the 24th. What we can see is an area of low pressure there. This is when the first weather front's moving southeastwards. The colder air there, shown by the blue shading, beginning to move down from the north. Less cold still in the south. Jumping forwards to Saturday the 27th, this is the second area of low pressure, the nasty one, which moves southwards over the North Sea. Very cold air moving down from the Arctic, probably the coldest plunge that we've had this autumn. And it's making its way down across all parts of the country, potentially, therefore, as I say, the risk of sleet and snow not just confined to high ground in the north. Moving forwards to Tuesday the 30th, high pressure building from the southwest for a time, less cold upper level air shown by the yellows and greens, but the next weather system just here to the northwest with colder air behind it once more looks set to push southeastwards in the days which follow. So taking a look at the 2 metre temperatures, 15 GMT, Wednesday the 24th, single figures across the UK, 7s, 8s, 9s, colder in Scotland, not really very far from the average at this point. But then if we jump forwards to Saturday the 27th, it's much colder. Maximums here on the GFS chart, 4 Celsius in the south, maybe a little bit milder there in the southwest, and colder as you head northwards. Across parts of Scotland, their temperatures potentially remaining below freezing point, so a nice ice day up there. Also, there's the likelihood of frost becoming widespread on some nights. It is going to be very dependent upon the extent of cloud cover, the strength of winds, etc. But just as an example, here's the minimum temperature forecast chart for 09 GMT, Sunday the 28th. Widely below 0 Celsius, we've got -7 there up in Scotland. Even in parts of the south, dipping down to 0 or just below. Perhaps I'll finally record my first air frost of the season in Berkhamsted very late this year. I've mentioned the strength of the winds. Here are 2 GFS charts for Saturday the 27th. The one on the left is 03 GMT, the one on the right is 06 GMT. You can see on the left chart there 60 to 70 mile an hour gusts affecting northeastern England. Then moving forwards 3 hours to the chart on the right, very strong winds, over 60 mile an hour gusts still are in much of central and eastern England, even towards the London area. Now, this is still a long way off. That means there's quite a lot of uncertainty about the details. Therefore, I think it's worth taking a look at some of the ensemble output. I'm going to use the MOGREPS model from the UK Met Office for this purpose. The chart here, it's called a postage stamp chart, shows forecast wind gusts from all of the runs in the model at 06 GMT on Saturday the 27th. The key takeout really is most of the individual stamps have lower maximum wind gusts in central and southeastern England than the GFS model was showing. The strongest winds generally across the northern half of the UK, as well as western and eastern coastal counties. I'll also just look at a couple of location-specific plots. This one's for Berkhamsted. It's again using the MOGREPS data. The period in question is the 27th. You can see there's quite a wide range of possible solutions still being generated at this point. At the bottom end of the ensemble, gusts are 30 miles an hour, and at the top end, 60. I think most of the individual runs are somewhere in between, perhaps 40 to 45 being the most probable scenario. Going up to Newcastle, once again, there's a big range of solutions still. At the bottom end, though, maximum gust speeds are around 40, and at the top, around 80. So everything here is at a higher level. Most of the individual runs probably going for something like 50 to 65 miles an hour. So very windy indeed. But as I say, these charts are showing that there is a good deal of uncertainty still. As the time approaches, the ensemble runs will pack more closely together and it will become clearer what the outcome will be. But as I say, at the moment, it generally looks like maybe 40 to 45 in southeastern England, higher in the north and around western and eastern coastal counties, 60, 70, maybe even 80 miles an hour in one or two locations. I've also mentioned the possibility of sleet and snow, so I'll just quickly run this animation from the high resolution UK Met Office UKV model. It begins at 21 GMT on Friday the 26th. Snow is shown by pinks and purples, so at the outset there's quite a lot over Scotland. And through the following hours, areas of rain, sleet and snow associated with the low pressure which is over the North Sea are affecting much of central and eastern Britain. As I say, it's a real mix, but there could well be some snow quite a long way south. Just to take a look at some of the snow depth charts, this is from the UKV model. It's valid for 09 GMT on Saturday the 27th. Most of the snow is in Scotland, over high ground in northern England, but also over the Welsh hills, even some down the southwest, and just a hint there of a sprinkling in East Anglia, at least transient. It probably wouldn't hang around for too long. Looking at another snow forecast chart, this one's from the German ICON model. It's a similar story really. Snow mostly over Scottish Highlands, as you would expect. It's a little bit in Wales, northern England, but again, East Anglia is shown to have a covering. Therefore, it's time to take a look at some of the ensemble data again. I'll use MOGREPS postage stamps once more, this time showing snow depth forecast for 09 GMT on Saturday the 27th. Big spread. But what's quite interesting is that a number of them are showing snow cover in East Anglia. Some also go for snow cover in other parts of the south. Definitely something to keep an eye on as the time approaches. There could well be quite a wintry theme across much of the UK on Saturday. Finally, if you're hoping for the snow to be more widespread, well, you'll be keeping your fingers crossed for the GFS model. I saved this one for last. I don't think it's going to be the most accurate, but you can see snow cover over much of the United Kingdom, a widespread snow event, really only the southwest missing out, parts of central England and eastern Wales there too, but even Northern Ireland seeing some snow. Well, GFS, often it's very good at picking up the broad scale patterns, but it tends to be not as adept, should I put it, at the small scale detail. So it does tend to overstate the extent of snow quite often. So it's an interesting week, but how do all the deterministic models stack up against each other at the end of it? Well, here's the GFS at 00 GMT, Tuesday the 30th, the model run which the animation was based on. At this point, high pressure is centred to the southwest of the UK, it's having some influence, and the next set of weather systems is set to move down from the northwest. Next up, the Canadian model for GEM. Similar picture, high pressure to the southwest, extending its influence across much of the UK, maybe some showers there still in the east. The German ICON model, same story. The European ECM model, very similar. Finally, the UK Met Office model, same old story, high pressure centred to the southwest, another colder plunge, probably moving down in the days which follow. I think, therefore, quite good agreement. Details, of course, varying between those individual deterministic models, but the general theme is for high pressure to be centred to the southwest or to the west of the UK. That leads to the ongoing chance of colder air moving down from the north or the northwest. So what about the second week of the forecast period? As usual, it's all about looking at the ensemble data to try and identify trends and probabilities as opposed to specifics. Starting with the 16-day GEFS plot for London and southeastern England. Across the top, upper air temperatures, and I think here the message is quite mixed. For the first few days, they are hovering around the 30-year average, which is shown by the thick black line. But later on, the thick purple line, which is the ensemble mean, climbs several degrees above it. Therefore, to summarise, the trend is a warming one later on. Rainfall across the bottom. Spikes continue to appear through the second week, but it's not an overly wet picture. Is there still a chance of snow? At the moment, this suggests probably not. What we can see is that the snow row reaches a maximum of 20 on the 27th. The highest possible value it can take is 33. And through the second week, it's 4, then it's 2, then it's 3, then it's down to 0 for several days. So a much reduced chance of snowfall in the south, at least during the second week, according to this. I think it's just worth taking a look at the European ECM ensemble because this one goes out to 10 days. I think the warming trend through the second week is less marked here, and generally temperatures are a little bit lower than the GEFS is showing. You can see there by the 3rd of December, the purple line, which is the ensemble mean, is a few degrees below the 30-year average. So all in all, the ECM doesn't seem to be painting that warming picture, at least not to the same extent that the GEFS is. Going back to the GEFS to look at the situation in Glasgow through week 2, I think it's best described as upper air temperatures becoming close to the average. Once again, though, remember there's a big spread of solutions, warmer and colder ones into the mix. Rainfall, more spikes than on the London chart. Is it going to snow here? Looking at snow row values, in fact, they are quite low, even in the northwest of the UK. Maximum there through the second week of 5 out of 33. So GFS plots for London and Glasgow both suggest that the risk of snow will be significantly lower through the second week than it was through the first week. 2 metre temperatures based on the GEFS data. Here's the data table for London. Through week 2, mostly light greens, but the amount of yellows in the columns increases. Yellow is used to indicate runs which are forecasting maximums of between 11 Celsius and 15 Celsius. So I think just to summarise this, the picture is for temperatures to be higher through week 2 than they were through week 1. That fits quite nicely together with the upper air temperature profile which I've been discussing. Going up to Glasgow to look at the same thing, temperatures here are lower generally than they were on the London data table. Nonetheless though, it's the same trend through week 2. There's more light green, a little bit of yellow as well, and it's a milder picture probably than through week 1. Looking at the surface level pressure data table, I'm using York as the central location. Again, it's a mixed picture through the second week, but I think the trend is an upwards one. There's an increasing amount of yellow. Those are runs going for between 11 and 1,025 millibars above the average. Also, oranges start to appear, 1,026 to 1,040 millibars, well above the average. And at the very end there's a little bit of red, which is runs that are going for over 1,040 millibars. So later on here, the trend is for pressure to be increasing. As I say, it's mixed, but my interpretation is that a lot of the runs in the ensemble are showing high pressure building from the south to southwest up across the UK. Now, looking at the GEFS 500 HPA height anomaly, which we can think of as a pressure anomaly chart, this one is for Saturday the 4th of December. To the east of UK and Scandinavia, the dark blues here are indicating a strongly negative anomaly, so lower pressure than the norm. Out to the west, to the southwest, the yellows are showing higher than the norm. All in all, it fits together with the general pattern of high pressure remaining somewhere to the west or the southwest of the UK, but perhaps building northeastwards through the second week, leading to those warm upper air temperatures. Looking at the GEFS pressure mean for Friday the 3rd of December, it looks flatter than it has done for some time. You can see high pressure here, bumping up a little bit into the North Atlantic, still a hint of a northwesterly from the ensemble mean, but all in all, less indication that winds are going to be coming down from the north than has been the case. Fitting in, as I say, once more with that warming picture during the second week, according to the GEFS. Now, looking at the ECM mean pressure pattern at the same time, Friday the 3rd, there are significant differences here today between the ensembles. Much more of a northerly component showing on the ECM model. That, I think, fits in with the lower upper air temperatures which it was forecasting at this time compared to the GEFS. Taking that ensemble data together, it really reduces the confidence in a particular outcome. On balance, it's probably the case that through the second week we're going to see somewhat less cold conditions developing, but it's not a given, and the ECM would probably be keeping things somewhat cooler than the GEFS. So to summarise the 2 weeks, week 1, it's a changeable outlook, and although temperatures fluctuate, it will often be cold. On the 27th and the 28th, there's the likelihood of it becoming very windy in much of the UK. There could also be outbreaks of rain, sleet and snow. I think there's a significant chance of snowfall in the southern half of Britain, but accumulations are most likely over high ground in the north. However, even in parts of the south, there could be some temporary accumulations, the chance perhaps around 25% in East Anglia. On some nights, frosts become widespread. Week 2, the changeable theme looks like continuing, wettest in the north and driest in the south. There is also a signal for it to become less cold, particularly in the south, but there is some uncertainty about that with not all of the ensemble data supporting it. So there we have it. It's quite a wintry picture, at least in the short term. In fact, I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hoping to see a few flakes of snow falling here in the Chilterns. We shall see. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful and enjoyed it. If you did, then please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. Thank you for watching now. Bye.